Isn't English is English only coming out later? That's first.
What's that? I'm not sure.
You can't measure the thing again.
All right, good morning, everyone. Let's get going here. All right. S&P last night, nice solid session. Kind of building, I guess, after the day before, managed to survive. I think it's important that we are able to regain some sort of footing, that we don't just keep coming down in a straight line. That would have made things made things difficult, to say the least. We can see there every sector up across the board except for information technology, which is obviously impacted by Apple being down about 8% yesterday. So you can kind of shake that one off and more or less say that all the sectors were up when you take Apple out of it. We had earnings from Pfizer and Ford Motors yesterday. Ford, pretty much the best earnings that we've seen out of Ford in years, and that despite the disappointing durable goods numbers that came out yesterday, the market really managed to shake off that durable goods report. Then FOMC began its last policy meeting under Bernanke, which will finish up today. A policy announcement will be due today, as well as local today or tomorrow. Today, yeah, as well as local today, I thought it was. Then in Asian markets, we saw really a strong push on the back of, let's just take a step back. I mean, I think the biggest thing that happened overnight, actually, that's not even written down here, is the Turkish Central Bank coming out with just an incredible policy move, an emergency meeting. I mean, they raised overnight lending rates from like 7.5% all the way up to 12%. The expectation was for them to move it up to 10% on the surprise meeting. Everyone knew there was going to be something special happen, but not that special. And really, yeah, really just an incredible move. The overnight repo rate then also moved to 10% as well. So it was just a huge announcement. That's obviously why we saw this pop up in the Rand last night. I think just temporarily takes a little bit of the nerves, some sort of the nerves out of emerging markets. But like I said, that's probably only a temporary move, so just keep that in mind. On the back of that, we saw things like the yen really weaken nicely against the U.S. dollar. That's one of the reasons why the Nikkei was so strong this morning. We also saw Australia up 1%, Hang Seng up almost 1%, the Kospi over 1%. So it was a really big move from the Turkish Central Bank. We also right now we're in the middle of the Chinese New Year holidays, which continues to kind of keep things light there. So I think whatever is happening there in terms of market action is probably less important than it normally would be. All right, this morning we've got, right now we can see all the numbers are coming through on the terminal for Amplats at the moment. What it looks like to me, I'm seeing total platinum output rises to 25% to 520,000 ounces. Looks like the expectation here was for 566,000 ounces. We going on one of the more reliable, what we felt like was reliable broker notes here. This is not a Bloomberg consensus, so just keep that in mind. Anglo-American numbers still haven't seen. You can see there some of the important numbers. Diamonds expected to be at 7.77. We're looking for copper at 194, and then we're looking for iron ore at 9.8. So just keep that in mind on those numbers today to give us some sort of guidance on where these things may be going. A lot more earnings out tonight in the States. Some of the big industrials like Boeing, Dow Chemical, and then a lot of the tech stocks, EMC, Philips, and Qualcomm. So, quite a nice spate there. We're continuing to kind of go through earnings season. It's middle of the road, I think, to say the best, what we've seen out of earnings in the States. I don't think there's been anything to really drive us higher out of the U.S. earnings season. We'll continue to monitor that as we go forward. All right, we also had ITU into properties, which was raised to buy from neutral at UBS today. I think the second one in 3 days to come with a upgrade to buy rating. We showed that on the chart a couple of days ago. Technically, it's really looking solid. So buying that on pullbacks might not be a bad idea. All right, let's look at market data today. We've got UK nationwide house price numbers at 9 o'clock. We've also got the German consumer confidence at 9. We've got Spanish retail sales, European money supply, business confidence in Italy. We've got MBA mortgage apps later in the States. And obviously the big two things of the day are going to be the FOMC rate decision and the South African interest rate announcement. What time is that going to be? Do you guys know? It's up here 3. Is I think the start of the meeting is at 3 o'clock, and obviously the announcement will probably only be made closer to 3:15. But just keep that in mind. It's going to be big here, especially following on the back of what's just happened in Turkey, especially what's happening with the rand. In the total blowout that we've seen over the last year, and the pressure on the forward band of inflation that we're getting because of it. So just keep that in mind. Watch closely today. There's not a whole lot of shares that benefit from a rise in interest rates. Just keep that in mind as we go into the meeting. All right, next one. Let's jump into the maps. First thing we're going to look at is Exxaro. You're going to notice a common theme here. This isn't much trend line, isn't much of a trend line, but you can see here we've definitely kind of moved into some sort of an uptrend off of the bottom here to an extent. And we're down here at some sort of trend line support, also right at the 200-day moving average, and mining stocks, before we did get a sell-off that started 3 days ago, have definitely been the flavor of the week, and maybe this is an incredible second chance. I know yesterday we got Sasol that had pulled back $25 off the high, maybe also was a great chance. Or in fact, I think it was $28 off the high. We've got a lot of these stocks that ran really hard as we started to shift into the mining space that have pulled back nicely here. One of the next ones we'll have a look at is Impala's, looking very similar. Same thing, kind of coming back and testing trendline support, managing to hold it on the day yesterday, making a little bit of a reversal there yesterday. And we'll have to see how this one continue to do today. But same sort of thing, the mining space coming down to test trend support. Kumba looking very much the same way. You can see there coming down to test some sort of trend support, definitely looking like it's made some sort of a reversal off of the bottoms. MTN, another one. I know we mentioned it yesterday, but we closed right at this 205 level. If we look at this, I think one of the reasons why this and Vodacom have underperformed so badly over the last few days, from what everyone's saying, they're getting ready to announce on these interconnection rates. And I think obviously, people are a little bit nervous on this. We talked about this yesterday, this level between 205 to call it 202, somewhere where our risk level is, and where it's probably not a bad idea to have a nibble if you like this support play, which it's pretty definitive to an extent. So Vodacom doesn't look quite so good on the maps, but also is going to be coming into some sort of trend supports not too far away, probably around $121, and it's pulled back quite nicely off the top. I know both of these things got an upgrade yesterday to buy from Standard Bank, so maybe not a bad place to nibble, especially if the news comes out and you see them starting to make a bit of a reversal day on the news. Could be a great selling the rumor, buying the news story. So, all right, and then the last one we're going to have a look at is Anglos, but we're going to look at it in London. Kind of almost making a double bottom to an extent. You can see there, and really we've made that push off of where previous lows were, but right now we're starting to look like we could be flagging. Remember, after these couple major green bar days, I think it could be some sort of at least short-term trend reversal, and putting us into a bit of a flag pattern. We were up above 14 pounds only about 6 or 7 sessions ago, and then all of a sudden now we're down around 1340. So this thing has pulled back quite significantly. Remember, in rand terms, those are big numbers. And if we get a little pop above this flag, it could have some legs from here. So obviously, what we're talking about this morning for the most part are the mining stocks. A lot of these stocks coming into trend support, potentially decent buys. Just be careful out there, maybe ahead of the interest rate decision this afternoon. We'll have to see how that's gonna play out and affect obviously not just the miners but everything else in the market. That's it for today, guys. Thanks a lot.